If you've ever wondered what it's really like to explore inside an Egyptian pyramid, this is your chance to find out. We're going to take you on a full tour of the Red Pyramid so you can experience it for yourself. The Red Pyramid is really important to Egyptian history. Without the lessons learnt on the construction of this pyramid, the Great Pyramid at Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and the only one still in existence, would never have been built. When it was built, this pyramid was encased in smooth white Tora limestone, which would have made it an astonishing sight. The casing stones were stripped for other building projects over the centuries, but some of them were found at the base of this pyramid. Archaeologists discovered many bearing the inscriptions of the builders, including the years they were laid and the names of the construction gang. These details provide evidence that this massive 105 metre tall structure, that's about 350 feet, was completed in less than 11 years. A truly astonishing feat. Early medieval Arab explorers who entered the pyramids at Dahshur returned with stories of terror induced by spiritual guardians, mechanical traps and living statues that would crush those who trespassed into these sacred spaces. Being ordered to descend into a pyramid by the Caliph must have been a truly terrifying experience. It's going to be a bit of a slog as I'm bent double. The guides at the entrance have said go down backwards, but I'm not sure it's actually any better than going forwards. Going down this shaft, I can't help thinking even for the British explorers of the 19th century, it must have been a very daunting experience. Descending into the pitch black unknown, when there was just smooth stone with no steps and no handrails, with just a flickering candle, must have required some nerves. If you look at some of the stones here, you can see why it's called the Red Pyramid. The red colour comes from oxidized iron ore that got mixed into the limestone when it was formed on the seabed millions of years ago. I'm starting to smell the smell of ammonia. Apparently this was the third and final pyramid built by Pharaoh Sneferu. It's thought that the first at Maidan had collapsed before completion. The second, which is nearby, suffered structural cracking and an emergency change in design, which is why it's known as the Bent Pyramid. This pyramid, the Red Pyramid, was third time lucky. It's the first true smooth-sided pyramid ever built in Egypt, and the lessons from this construction allowed Sneferu's son, Khufu, build the Great Pyramid at Giza. The smell of ammonia in here is really strong. Some say it was from the droppings and urine of the hundreds of bats that roosted in this chamber after the tomb raiders left the entrance open centuries ago. Others have more colourful explanations. Whatever it is, it's very strong, and I've not noticed it in any of the other pyramids. Wow, look at that corbelled ceiling. And there's some graffiti from the British surveyors. I think that says G. Ovenden and C. Kirkwen, 1836. I've not been able to find anything definitive about them online. If you have better luck, let me know in the comments. However, they would have been members of the British survey team who had to clear the debris left by tomb robbers before they could start their work of surveying. Wow, okay, another huge chamber. It's thought these high, narrow, corbelled ceilings were a way of distributing the massive weight of the stones above us. In the bent pyramid you can see huge cedar beams where the engineers tried to figure out how to deal with the crushing weight and stop the ceilings of the chambers collapsing. In this pyramid they got it right for the very first time. This staircase was added in the 1990s when the pyramid was open to tourists for the very first time. Prior to that, the passageway at the top would have been almost impossible to access without long ladders or scaffolding, which was exactly the point. The pyramid builders wanted to hide something very important at the top. The precision of how those blocks are cut and laid is incredible. There must have been some astonishing levels of wealth here back in the days of Pharaoh Sneferu. Okay, we're at the top. It's believed this passageway was blocked by a huge plugging stone that would have looked almost identical to the other stones around it. It's believed ancient tomb raiders demolished it with chisels before finally making it into the hidden chamber beyond. The British explorers said tomb raiders in antiquity had dug up the floor of the chamber looking for hidden treasure. The British surveyors described how the debris was piled up outside this chamber to make a makeshift ramp to allow easier access. It's assumed this was probably Pharaoh Sneferu's burial chamber, but there's no sign of a sarcophagus like the ones found in other pyramids. There were human remains found under the debris in this pyramid in 1950, which some say had signs of mummification and are of the right era for Sneferu, but we don't really know as there's no hard evidence. Again, just look how precise that stonework is, incredible. Okay, let's see what it's like getting out of here. I wonder what it's like going to be climbing that long shaft to get out. There's some fascinating details about that shaft I can tell you about when we get there. That's quite a view. Having visited the mastaba tombs that predate the pyramids, and the step pyramid, which is Egypt's first ever pyramid, and the bent pyramid, it's fascinating to see how the architectural techniques developed so rapidly from one generation of builders to the next. Once we get out of here, do have a look at our films about Saqqara, which is the location of the step pyramid and the bent pyramid after watching this one. Exploring inside the bent pyramid was the absolute highlight of our entire time in Egypt, especially crawling through the secret passage into the unique second burial complex. It felt like a real Indiana Jones adventure experience. If you're planning on visiting Cairo, do make sure you make time to visit this site in Dahshur and Saqqara, as well as the Giza Plateau. We've got a detailed 14-day itinerary and 13 things you need to know before visiting Egypt also on our channel, so do look out for those. Let's just have one last look around and then let's have a go at that climb. So this is about a 63-metre climb, which I guess is about 70 yards. The shaft descends at exactly 26.5 degrees and we're heading due north, which means if it were night time 4,500 years ago when these pyramids were built, we'd see the North Star shining directly down this shaft. Not Polaris, which is the North Star in our era, but Thuban in the constellation Draco. The North Star has changed over the millennium due to the Earth wobbling on its axis over a 26,000 year cycle. For the ancient Egyptians, the North Star represented the eternal, because unlike most other stars, the sun and the moon, it doesn't rise and set. It's actually stationary in the sky and is therefore immortal. This shaft was effectively a cosmic launch tube for the pharaoh's soul as it left this world behind and joined the immortal. This isn't a unique feature of the Red Pyramid. The shafts in the Bent Pyramid and the pyramids at Giza all pointed directly at the North Star. Oh, that's bright. Well, that was great. Thanks for taking the time to do that with me. If you enjoyed it, do subscribe for more near and far adventures.